Have you ever gone to an amazing conference, seminar, training, had all of these amazing action items that you took away from the training, and then only to realize a few weeks later that none of them had occurred? Hi, everybody. Today, I want to talk to you guys about this specific topic. I want to talk about what do you do to make sure that all of your amazing takeaways turn into these actions that you take and all of these success stories that you can look back on 2 weeks, 4 weeks, a year later. And when you think about it, it's doubly important for us in the entrepreneurial space. When you're a part of a team or you're part of a big business or a corporation, you may have a lot of people around you to hold you accountable. You'll probably have your boss reaching out to you and make sure, hey, did you do this? You may have other coworkers trying to see what it is you've done and what you haven't done. But when you're an entrepreneur, sometimes even a solopreneur, right, that really falls on you. It falls on you to hold yourself accountable and to make sure that all of the takeaways that you wrote down in your notebook or jotted down get to be actioned on and turn into these amazing things. So I had the pleasure of, let's see, what day was that? Friday. I went to the Conscious Leadership Summit. You guys probably heard me talking about it. And it was really the summit that was built around the book Awareness Put Me On that we published a year ago now. And we had a full day of amazing speakers, amazing panels, and there were so many great things that I took away from that conference. And so as I kind of, that day that we wrapped up, I was like, okay, what are the things that I want to do to make sure that these feelings don't go away? That all of these great ideas that I have and all of these amazing things that I want to do actually get actioned on. And so I, went through that work, went through that process. And I'm sorry, it's what are we in? April here in Tennessee, so allergies are killing me. But I sat down and I said, okay, I now want to go and share this with all of you guys, right? Take the things that I did, share this with you guys so that if you find yourself in this same situation, you're able to action these items and again, just really see that success and that progress that you're hoping for. So when I sat down and kind of asked myself, what are the things that I want to do to make sure that these go from these ideas in my notebook to these items that I action, the first thing that I really did is I sat down and I was like, okay, let me take some time and plan. What does this look like? So for me, I had taken notes throughout the day. I had jotted down some things and notes on my phone. I even did a voice memo or two. So I sat down and I kind of consolidated all of that, looked over that and said, okay, what are the things that I really feel are some of my key takeaways? What are the things that are important to me? What are the things that I actually want to action on, right? That's the first step, because not everything's going to be for you, right? There may be things that maybe you've already progressed past that or things that you haven't gotten to, right? But what are the things that are for you in those moments of a seminar, a conference, a training, or maybe even just a really great conversation with a mentor? So for me, once I pulled all of that together, and I've probably told you guys this before, I love just jotting things down on a dry erase board or a mirror. And I just jotted down on my mirror in the hotel, what are the things that I wanted to take action on? Wrote them down, and it did two things. One, it gave me a really good visual. And two, it forced me to be able to articulate what it was that I wanted to do really well. So I would encourage you to write them down. Some people, just maybe go back over their notebook and highlight the things that they feel are important, but take some time to really figure out and plan what is it that you want to do. And if you're looking at any of these actions that you're excited about and they seem really big, take the time to break them down. So when we talk about breaking these big things down, it can be something along the lines of like, okay, if you walk away from a meeting and you have this really great idea to go out there and do 20 videos, for example. Okay, well, what does that look like? I'm going to do 3 a week over the course of X amount of weeks, or I'm going to do 1 a day, or whatever that looks like. So take any of those big goals that you have coming away from the meeting and take the time to break them down, make them a little bit palpable so they don't look too scary for you. The second thing, right? So the first thing is planning your actions, and the second thing is prioritizing your goals. Now, thankfully, when I walked out of that meeting, there were quite a few things that I had jotted down that I was super excited to do, but I knew for myself going out and trying to get started on 7 new things, 8 new things would be a little bit overwhelming. So I had to take some time and say, okay, what are the things that I want to do first? What are the things that I can do second? And break it down that way. And sometimes it's a little bit obvious, right? So, for example, working with my parents right now, helping them to do remodeling of the house. We hopefully, obviously, right, painted the house first before we put in the new decor, right? So there may be things that are super obvious like that. It's spring here. Everybody's starting the garden right now. So of course, the first thing that we're doing is, pulling out the weeds, putting in the new soil before putting in the new plants. So again, there's going to be some things that are super obvious when you're trying to figure out how to prioritize. There may be things that might not be as obvious. So this is where having an accountability partner comes in handy. So maybe share it with an accountability partner, get those words, out loud, see what they say, bounce ideas off of others. Or maybe it just may be something as simple as, hey, there's 8 things I want to implement. I can only do 4 of them right now. Pick the 4 that you're most excited about and go. But within that, just making sure that you're doing something, leaning into something is one of the biggest takeaways for that area. Another thing within that is think about what of those takeaways align most to your current goals. So maybe there's some items there that, when you look at them, it's like, okay, if I do this, that'll help me get to the goal that I already set this much quicker. Go ahead and lean into that, right? Instead of feeling like you have to split your priorities, right? The more that you can really hone in, the better. And then the last thing, so we talked about planning your actions. We talked about prioritizing your goals. And the third piece in that is taking time to perform and track your progress. And if you've been listening to me, you know that I'm really, really big on taking a step back, understanding where you are, not just hoping you're doing well, but making sure you have some process in place to ensure that happens. And this is where that perform and track progress part really comes in. So one of the things that I challenged everybody on during my panel session, the moderator asked us all for a takeaway, a call to action that we would give to the audience there. And, one of the things that I said was set a deadline on what your goal is going to be like, right? If you guys are taking away something from today, and, I hope that everybody is, I said, go ahead and make yourself a goal that you're going to take that first step by Monday afternoon when you get home, by Tuesday night, Sunday even, right? Give yourself some kind of goal. Bonus points if you can make it happen within the first 48 hours. Really use that momentum to kind of kickstart your trajectory. And I get it. Sometimes things happen. It's a little bit crazy, right? I came back from Tennessee and we're right into soccer season. So things are a little bit crazy over here for us. But if you can, try to kick off that first goal, or at least that first step towards a goal or towards an action item that you set for yourself within the first 48 hours, so you can use that momentum to really carry you along. I've talked a lot about timelines and, setting timelines for yourself. My biggest thing around this is make sure it's something that is achievable for you. Sometimes we try to make these crazy timelines for ourselves that just, would take Superman or Superwoman to go after. And if you are Superman or Superwoman, thank you and welcome to the channel. But for most of us, we need to make sure that we're being realistic with the things that we set for ourselves. So whether that's being realistic in what it is we can do from a time perspective or how many people we can reach out to in a time perspective, just make sure that we're setting realistic goals there, right? So for me, with me setting the goal of, hey, I'm going to knock out my first 20 YouTube videos, saying that I would do that in 2 days, probably not realistic, but I've given myself a goal of doing 3 a week. And I believe there's been 1 week where I was sick, and so that didn't happen. But for the most part, doing 3 a week has managed to be achievable for me, something that I've been able to really hone on and something that I'm tracking as well. So don't be afraid to set those timelines. Make sure that they're reasonable, review them, adjust as needed. Make sure you have something in place. If there's a particular tool or a project management app that you enjoy, I know I've said it before. I love my whiteboards. My sister actually brought me a ginormous one that sits right behind me, and it's double sided. It has its own stand. It's pretty awesome. But there's so many, even just like software based tools out there. I use Trello boards. I use Notion as well. I used Google Notes for a while, but there's so many things out there to help you keep track of your actions, the things that you're doing. At least for me, if I don't see it, if it's not written down somewhere, I tend to forget it. So if you are like me, find a way that works for you. And it doesn't have to be, those 2 or 3 that I mentioned, as long as you find some kind of system for yourself where you can track, where you can see your progress, you can see your results. So this way, am I on track, or is there something that I need to adjust? So that is what I have for today. Again, if you just finished up a conference, you just finished up a summit, a leadership meeting, or even, like I said, a fantastic meeting with a mentor or somebody that you lean into who gives you advice, and you've got these action items, these things that you want to do, make sure you get the first step, or at least, start on the first step within those first 48 hours. So that trajectory, you can really lean into that. So plan your actions, prioritize your goals, perform and track progress. Those are the 3 things that I recommend that you do right away after you have those amazing moments, those amazing connections. Because here's the thing, if there's people that are willing to pour into us, if there's things that are out there that can help us grow, especially as entrepreneurs, we need to make sure we're leaning into it. We need to make sure that we are utilizing those and taking the most from those interactions that we can. So if you guys have found this video helpful, thank you so much for being here. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, share. And if there is one thing that you're doing to help make your call to actions actionable that I did not mention, please drop it in the comments. I know I would love to hear it. I'm sure anybody else listening would love to hear it. And thank you again. And I hope that everybody has a fantastic Monday.